Ireland's Classic Hits Radio, it's Trina Mara, and as always, delighted to have Mary Byrne. I think I've spoken to Mary Byrne more than our own daughter over the years. Mary, you're very welcome back. God, you've been a busy lady this summer. There's been no rest for the wicked.
I'm telling you, it's good to be back and it's good to be talking to you again. Yes, it's been a hectic year, but I'm not complaining because you know this business. 1 year you have them, the next year is gone. So you just grab it and you run with it. And it's been very busy and it's been fab. I've really enjoyed it. Hard work, but it was good.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you've been doing this show all summer long. Mary Byrne, Check Me Out. This is very different, isn't it? Tell me about what this show is.
Well, normally I'm up on the stage and I'm just performing, singing. This is my life story on the stage. And, you know, it's I literally just tell what happened to me, where I was born, all that type of. But there's music in it as well. So each section of the show has a song that means something to me. So it's kind of I don't know, what would you call it? What would you call a book?
An autobiography, but it's on the stage.
It's that. Yeah, that's what it is. But the reaction to it has been phenomenal. I cannot believe. I mean, every show we've done, I've had 2 standing ovations.
Wow.
And they've just been outstanding. The people have just been outstanding. And coming out and hugging me. And then when you go out after the show, you have people coming up to you and saying, I related to that part of your life. I related to this. And people coming and crying and putting their arms around me and thanking me for, you know, being honest about what happened to me in life and all that. And they said, sitting there listening to you, I realised that, you know, I hid too much under the second table as well. And now I'm going to change. So that's lovely to hear that you've touched so many people as well.
Actually, I think Gary Barlow did a similar type of show. It was a show about his life like that on stage, and then he'd bring in a bit of music, and it sounds a little bit similar to that. And it was people got a real different side to him. Yeah, and he came to Dublin with that show a couple of years ago. So it's kind of
I never heard. I met Gary, you know, but I didn't know he done that type of a show.
Yeah, he did.
But it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Very therapeutic as well.
I know you're a very warm person and you'll tell anybody anything, and you're not like, you wouldn't be somebody that would be keeping secrets, really.
No.
But how do you feel about it? I mean, it's one thing, you know, telling your mate down the road, but bringing all your life stories to a show and an audience full of strangers nationwide as well.
Yeah, it can be scary. I mean, I have to have 2 Zambucas before I go out on stage. Just 2 little shots of Zambuca because I'm so nervous about what I'm doing. But it is, for me, and I didn't realise it until I started the show, how I've grown as the person I am, how I found, I mean, through telling my story over and over again, I've now realised why I have what I have, the depression and all that. I mean, I don't need to tell the people that, but when I'm talking about my family and about life and what we did, things started to open up in my mind, memories, things that I hidden away for so long. Not bad things, but things that made me the way I am emotionally. And that's what it has done for me. So when I'm up there, I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve and I'm being totally honest with everyone. And I just feel that if more people who say have a bit of a voice spoke honestly and stopped pretending that everything was fine in the garden, a lot more people would benefit from that, and knowing that someone they like, someone they see on the television has the same problems as they have. And that makes people endear to you hugely, and it makes them trust you. And that's what I want, because I'm being totally honest with them and I want them to trust me and to understand that I'm saying this for my benefits as much as for anyone else's.
Yeah. And
I'm enjoying every bit of it.
We're being a bit cryptic, I guess, about some of the topics that are covered in the show. Can you give me any idea of a few of the things without going too much into it?
Well, I talk about, there's a lot of stuff. There's a bit of fun in it as well. Believe you me, they laugh, they cry. I talk about where I lost my virginity, which I'm not going to tell you. And I do some actions that I shouldn't do, but I do it because I love it.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
These are the funny bits to it, right? Yeah. The other parts are, you know, how I felt and the time that I just said to myself one day, you know, there's nothing left for me in this world and my family will be better off without me. And I headed towards, you know, a place called Chapel in Ballyferma, where there's a river. And something happened that turned me the opposite direction. I don't know why or what happened. So I talk about all of that. And with each time I'm talking and I get finished this section, I have a song to go with that. Like the section that I tell about getting pregnant with Deborah and Deborah's father totally being excuse the language, I won't say it.
Yes,
you know,
we get the gist.
Yes. I mean, there's a song there that I sing, Never, Never, Never. It's a Shirley Bassey song. And because of that moment when things went wrong, and I was carrying his child, I remember thinking, I'll never hate anyone the way I hate him. And I'll never love anyone the way I love them. And I never did to this day. So the song is called Never, Never, Never. I love you, hate you, love you, hate you. So that's the premises of the whole show, is the story is being told, but there's music going with it, and there's laughter in it. There's a lot of emotion in it. When I'm talking about the death of my parents, it is very, very emotional, and I always burst into tears every time I think of both of them. And it just it brings up all those memories again. And people would say, would that not affect you? No, it doesn't. It helps me.
Yeah.
Because I can remember them, and I can feel them with me.
How long is it, Mary, since you lost your parents?
Well, my mother died in 95 and my dad died in 2004. So, I missed them something terrible. It doesn't feel like that length of time at all. I can remember every single thing that I did the morning my mother was found dead, and every single thing that I did up to the time my father died in the hospital with all of us around them. Oh. I can remember it as clear as if it was yesterday.
So there were two very different deaths then. One you were expecting and one was sudden, was it?
Yes. Well, we knew my mother wasn't well. She had been diagnosed with a form of dementia, and then she just went downhill from that. She went into James's hospital. Her lung collapsed, and she went into James's hospital, and she came out and she wasn't the same woman again. And within 2 years, she went just into like a vegetable. She could barely talk. Now, she knew us. She didn't know us. I'm telling you a lie. The day before she died, I remember going down and trying to feed her, and she wouldn't eat. And Willie and myself, we knew. My brother knew. My poor dad sitting there looking at her. And I walked out the door. I said, Willie, I come down early in the morning. And I said, I love you, Ma. And for the first time in 2 years, she said, I love you too, Mary. Mind yourself. And that was the last words I ever got from my mother, because she died during the night with my dad by her side.
God, isn't that a wonderful thing for her to have said, and to make sure that you had said that you loved her before you left the house that day? Yeah, and then I talk about when I ran away from home and the hurt I caused them, but the life I had. And there's so many different parts in the show that everyone will find a piece of themselves there. You got into the world of entertainment. Oh, so I guess you were always an entertainer, Mary, really, weren't you? Because you were singing around the pubs and all from a young enough age. No, I'm going to be totally honest with you here. I did about 3 or 4 talent competitions in my young 20s. When people would hear me singing, they'd ask me would I do a charity show for them. I would end up, going to the person and saying, I have a sore throat, I can't make it. Oh, you chicken out, would you? I just couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't get on the stage. And it was kind of, after Deborah was born, I stopped I'd get up in my local pub for a karaoke or something like that. And that would kill me even to do that. But it was in my 40s that I don't know what happened to me. I was probably going through perimenopause at the time, and I kept thinking, God, I have to fucking do something. And my brother brought me out to a place called the Shamrock in Finglas, where he'd done a monthly gig, and kept asking me to up and sing, and I kept saying, no, I don't know any of them back and track. He said, well, do me a favour and learn 1 or 2 of them. So just for pick on in the house, I remember learning the back and track. I went out with him one Saturday night, and he kept saying to me, get up and sing a song. Eventually I get in and I got up and sang a song. And when I sang the Shirley Bassey Never Never, the audience stood up at the end of it. Wow. And it was like, I was actually in shock. But it was like that they had just planted a seed of confidence, because after that then, Nullick #1 came along, and my brother went for it. I went on and won it. He got knocked out in the first round. And from there, I just remember thinking, there has to be more to life than this. Yeah. And then the X Factor at 50, bang in the middle of the change of life, in the real change of life, I said, I'm not sitting on this till anymore. I'm going to see that nothing else coming along. Open the doors for me, God, I promise you I'll walk through. And the rest is bloody history, and that's what happened. Isn't it just the most amazing story, really, when you think of it? And I remember being down in the Tesco and Ballyfermers around the time, interviewing all your colleagues, looking at the till, because you'd sit at the same till, didn't you? You had your own... 40. Yeah. Till 40, I'll always remember. You had your routine. Can I ask you, just going back a little bit, when you had Deborah when she was a baby, did you have much help with her, or did you find that you were at home then all the time because you had this baby? I was at home a lot, but I was still working. My mother and father was there, my brother Willie. And they helped, and they kind of looked after her, Well, my mother was great with her, and my dad, and my brother. My brother really took to her, and he's still very close to her to this day. He was a heavy drinker at the time, and when she came home into the house, a couple of weeks in, he was in AA, and he's now 38 years off the drink nearly. That was it. And it was this baby changed the way he looked at himself. Amazing. He wanted to see this child grow up, and she became his friend, and she goes around from me, lives around the corner from me, and she goes around from every weekend and sits with him for nearly 3 or 4 hours, watching telly with him and having a laugh. And they still get on like brother and sister, more so than niece and uncle.
But that's what happened with him. That's how. But anytime I needed that, now I didn't go out an awful lot while she was younger because I was working in the daytime from 8 in the morning till 5 in the evening. And then I'd come home and, of course, your mother was up that looking after the baby all day. I had to take the baby, so I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I eventually gave up that job and got a part-time job in the Lond's pub just up the road from me, in the kitchens. So I worked in the kitchens making sandwiches and stuff like that. And all through that, my mum and dad were there, and my brother Willie and my sister. God love her, she used to take my daughter out to the zoo and stuff like that, you know. So I had a good bit of help. There was still a stigma around in 1987 about single parents. And I did get the odd, you know, look and a few words being said. But you know something, my mother always said, I was born before, I should have been born in years to come, because I had a very open mind and I believed in whatever people want to do in their lives, they should do it as long as they don't hurt anybody. And I'd speak to my mother about, you know, things that, you know, my mother wouldn't have spoke to me about me monthlies, about this, that and the other. And my mother used to nearly die of shock. But that's just who I was. And I swear, and I've always been like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I was ahead of my time in a certain way. So when people used to knock me for having a child outside marriage, I mean, I remember one person saying to me, and what the hell are you going to do now? The child won't have a father. And I turned around and I said, the child will have me. She will have my father and my mother and my brother. And I said, she will not be deprived of a male role in her life.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's none of your bloody business. And I'll never forget that. And I walked away from the person that said it.
Wow. So she was born in 1987. So was it about 1990 or 91 when The Snapper came out? You must remember that film coming out.
I do. I remember it very well. I've watched it about 50 times since. I think it's very funny and I think it's brilliant. And once again, you know, there she is having her big, and the people on the road, the little community on the road, some of them were looking at her, giving her dirty looks. Yeah. Other people were patting her on the back and saying, don't worry, everything will be fine. So that's the way people are. You can't change everyone.
Isn't it mad when you think that wasn't that long ago in Ireland?
It wasn't that long ago. So I mean, some of the Magdalene clinics, or what they call them,
the laundries,
the laundries were still going at that stage. Yeah. It wouldn't have been as bad as it was way back, but it was still there. That stigma was still there. But I had a beautiful family who embraced me and my daughter, and it was hard work bringing up a child. You know, when I eventually got my own house, I remember thinking to myself, why did I do this? I should have said to my mother. Because it was bloody hard getting her to school in the morning, I had 3 jobs at one stage. I had a job in a shop and I had 2 cleaning jobs in the evening. So it was hard. And she stayed with my parents after school, and, you know, and I'd pick her up from school. I'd be exhausted, back up to where I lived. And then I could sit down and she'd go to bed and I'd sit down and just, you know, that kind of way. So it was hard going.
There's no doubt about it. You're a hard worker, Mary.
I get it from my father and mother.
This show, so you're doing Bray tonight, next week then in Naas on the 17th of August, and then the finale is going to be in Dublin at the 3 Olympia on the 20th of August. I am so scared to do the Olympia because it's like it's bang in the middle of Dublin. And I did it twice when I came out of the X Factor first with a 16-piece band. This time I'm on the stage with a sofa and a couple of chairs and pictures on a wall, and I'm on my own. Not a bother. I hope they come out, and I hope they come and support me, because this is my dream. This is my dream, to do my own show in the Olympia, as they call it now, the what's that, the O3 or something? The 3 Olympia. The O3 Olympia. The 3 Olympia. Oh, the 3 Olympia, yeah. The 3 Olympia. We were saying during the week about how proud we are of Kelly Harrington, and how, you know, she really well and truly puts Ireland on the map, the achievement. And I know you were down this week with her family as well. But I think you're another one of these national treasures. Everybody knows Mary Byrne. You can't walk up the road, I'm sure. Oh, no, I'm known all over the place. And some people just don't recognise me sometimes for a few minutes because of the blonde hair. And then when they hear the voice, the minute I speak, they go, that's Mary Byrne. And it's lovely. Yeah. It is lovely to still have those people remembering way back in 2010 when I stood on that stage and gave it me all. And they still remember. And they're coming out and they're supporting me. This is what I'm finding fascinating now, 14 years down the line. And they're coming out and they're giving me standing ovations. And they're just, all they want to do is thank me and give me a big hug. Yeah. And I'm feeling the same way about them. Because unlike Kelly now, and I'm very proud of Kelly, I'm so proud that she has done what she's done, and she's going to get the homecoming that she deserves. I was offered a homecoming by our Lord Mayor, and the management team I was under in England wouldn't allow it happen. What? Don't ask me why. They didn't give me a reason, but that's why I want to be there for when Kelly comes down that road, and all the other athletes that are going to be there. Everyone who supports or represents their Ireland, their country, and does it proud, deserves
what them kids are getting.
She's brilliant. And she's a singer as well, Mary. You want to watch her back with
I
that
know.
Kelly one?
Well, listen, she sang Grace the night she won, but I sang it for her today. Or you can just say I sang it for her.
Yeah. Mary, we'll let you go. It's so nice to catch up. I think that I don't know how many conversations we've had, but there's still more to talk about every time.
And listen, I was looking, there's more coming. There's a country album. There's other stuff happening at the moment that I can't say anything about.
Right.
And I'm going to work my butt off because I'm hitting retirement time not this year, next year, and I have no intention of retiring. I'm going out there. I'm going to sing until God tells me, give it up.
I thought you were going to say, I'm trying to pack it in before I draw the pension, but no, you're going to keep going.
No. I'm going to keep going as long as God gives me the strength and I can get up there and as long as the people come out. That's what I need.
Yeah.
And my age group, that's what's coming to me. You get at this show, I had a lot of young people coming, and they're coming out to me that never met me before in their lives, probably don't even barely remember me on the X Factor, and coming over and saying, I didn't know what to expect, but I really was blown away. This is what young kids are saying to me.
Well, Mary...
But anyway, don't forget to plug before we finish. Don't forget to plug.
Show. Mary, talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, sweetheart. Have a good day. Thanks for having me.
It's Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. Bye.